Welcome to Action Coaching. I'm certainly delighted that you've joined me on today. I'm Bishop Wiley Jackson, and we want to give you some exciting coaching tips on today. Everybody needs a coach, a guide, or a mentor. And what I mean by that is someone who perhaps have been the way that you're going and have run into some things that you have not yet experienced. And they're there to just simply to give you advice as to how you can handle that situation better. And so that's the goal of Action Coaching, just to share with you the things I have experienced that maybe you have yet to experience them or you going through them right now. And hopefully some of the things that we say here on Action Coaching will be a blessing to you and help you to be better able to navigate the different things that you got to go on with in life. Of course, I want to make sure all of you that enjoy Action Coaching, then I want you to hit subscribe, share, and like on all of the social media platforms so that you can be well informed when Action Coaching is putting out future things that will be a blessing to you, and we want you to be right there with us. And I want you to let others know about how Action Coaching has been helping you the time that you've been with us. Now, on this week, my topic is overcoming adversity. Let me say that one more time. Overcoming adversity. I'm just going to give you some tips about how you can overcome adversity. But we got to understand that I don't care who you are, adversity is going to come. That is the very first point I want to talk about. Nobody is exempt from adversity. There are things that are going to come up in this life, whether it's hardships, setback, all kind of trouble. Adversity is going to find all of us. And one of the things about adversity, so many times we can't tell whether it's going to be long term or short term, but we know it's going to be a difficult situation. Now, I know we're living in the world now where a lot of people want everything to be right all of the time. Well, I'm here to let you know that ain't going to happen. There's going to be some adversity, and not some that you think you can control. It's going to be some things that happen that are simply out of your control. I've had setbacks, problems, and issues that come up in my life. If I would have known they were coming, I would have did something about it. But I had no way of knowing that adversity is going to be a part of all our experience. Now, a lot of people saying, well, why is it that we got to go through adversity? Why can't we just go through everything being just like we want it and we don't have to do anything? Well, that's not the life that you have been given or I have been given, because adversity is necessary, because until you go through something, you're never going to become stronger. And adversity helps to make you stronger. I'm so excited now, and I'm just using this example about, praise the Lord, I have a grandbaby, joy of my life. To watch him grow and develop is so exciting. But just as having any baby, of course, you don't want the baby to fall, or you don't want the baby to go in the wrong direction, or maybe bump their head or trip over something, and you're trying to be very protected. It's not that you want those things to happen to them, but however, in the process of growing up and dealing with life, there are going to be some adversities. Sometimes the toy won't work like they want it to work, or they push it in the wrong direction, or they get to running too fast and things just happen. but it's all a part of making them much stronger. And in our life, sometimes things can be going ever so good and look like they can turn around and go ever so wrong. Nobody is exempt from adversity, and everybody got to understand how to deal with adversity. So what I'm going to do in this session is I'm just going to give you some pointers on how to better deal with adversity. Want you to understand there's no pointer, no talk that I can give you that can excuse you from adversity, because all of us are going to go through adversity. Or let me say it this way. All of us that are still alive and here, praise God, thank you, Jesus. And if we still alive and still here, there is going to be some adversity. So let's talk about a few ways that we can handle adversity. The number one, you got to let go of excuses. Yeah, there are a lot of times when all of us make mistakes and we're constantly apologizing for the mistake we made, and then we're even going through a tremendous thing in our own mind. Why did I do this? Why did I make that mistake? Why wasn't I perfect? You know, and we just hold on and we start making excuses. Well, if I'd have known better, I wouldn't have made that mistake. Well, obvious. If anybody would have known better, it wouldn't have been a mistake. The reason mistakes happen is because you didn't know better. And then you start making excuses and you start just belittling yourself. If I would have knew better, I never would have went with that person. Or if I would have knew better, I never would have took that job. I just keep blaming myself. I tried this business and I messed it up. And I'm just so disappointed that I messed up this business because I thought I was better than that. But you know, in life, you got to learn to let excuses go. But here's something you can do in the midst of all of these excuses you can make. You can learn from them. You can learn, well, what was in you that made you want to get in this position in the first place? Sometimes some things that we mess up is because we wanted to go into it. We made the mistake. We strived to do, no matter how many people told us it was wrong, we just wanted to go wrong anyway. And of course, when we find out that it was the wrong thing, then we go around making excuses. We even be saying excuses in ourselves each and every day. But I found out this. Things are going to happen. There are things that, yes, they're going to be hurtful. But the only way to let excuses go is to learn from them and learn how you dealt with it and what emotions you need to have to move on further in life. I can testify to that because when things God began to bless me with, I ain't never known that before. I ain't never been in these places before. I mean, the first time I actually got up to speak before some people, and it wasn't about 5 of them, but to me, speaking before 5 people was a lot of people. And so I get up with these 5 people, and I done studied my text all night long, and I'm here to tell you I made the biggest mess that I'd ever seen. I was feeling so bad, I was trying to go around and apologize to everybody, ask them to forgive me. I was just making the excuses. Maybe, I read my notes wrong. Maybe I was not prepared. Maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do. But you learn. You learn from the mistakes. But you got to let them go and move on. Because everything that you learn from, you're better the next time. And I don't know a human being that have not been in this predicament, that having to understand the things that you did, you're sorry for, but you gotta let them go. Learn from them and move on so you can be better the next time. So that's my first point as to overcoming adversity. You got to let go of excuses. Just call it what it is. You messed up, move on, and do it better the next time. Don't want you to go anywhere. I'll be right back to talk to you.
Sitting on my bed, watching a preacher preach on a television screen. And I said to myself, Lord, I can do better
I left off talking about how that in the process of overcoming adversity, you got to let go of excuses. Learn from them, move on, and keep pushing forward because that's all you can do in life. There are things that I made mistakes on years ago. And sometimes I find myself, I done improve, I'm doing better and everything, and I'm still holding on to the excuse that I did years ago. I'll be like, God, how could I make a mess out of that? And it'd be 10 years ago, and I'm still moaning and groaning. Now, I've learned better. I've learned some wisdom. I've learned how to react to various things that come up. And I know now that I can't live my life and do the dynamic things that God has for all of us, consistently crying over an excuse. When I was growing up, my grandmama used to tell me, I ain't understand it then, but she always used to say, well, you can't cry over spilled milk. I ain't quite understand that. Bottom line is, I ain't want the milk to spill. But she said you can't cry. In other words, she would say you can't cry over spilled milk, just get you another cup. And I understood that a lot of times, excuses of things that happen that you're sorry for, and they just torment you. But however, you got to let go of excuses. You got to learn from them. You got to learn to respond the right way and learn to control your emotions in those events again, because you've been through that before and you can do better. Here's my next point: overcoming adversity. You gotta stay focused. Now, it's important that a person stay focused, because focus is a very difficult thing for all of us in our life. I think the number one enemy for a lot of people to their success is the enemy called distraction. It's as if rather than focusing on what you can do well, you always get distracted by something that has absolutely absolutely nothing to do with what you're supposed to be focused on. I wouldn't want to go to a doctor who's supposed to help me, and he's consistently playing on his phone, consistently trying to Google and text someone my help. I want the man to be focused, and you want them to be focused. Focus is a key part of being successful in life, because when you are focused, you can achieve great things. But when you unfocus, that's when you mess everything up. I learned. Now I want you to know, I ain't come here being focused. I had to learn how to be focused. How does a person learn to be focused? I understood after a few mess ups that if I want to function at a high level in anything that I believe that I was called to do or I endeavored to want to do, I had to keep my main focus and make sure that that was the main thing in my life. Now, of course, when God called me into the ministry, which is what I do, I understood that if I wanted to do this at a high level, if I wanted to give glory to God with what He had blessed me to do, I had to remain focused. There were some friends I was running with, but they took me off focus. There were some things I liked to do. It took me off focus. Now understand, I'm not saying the friends were necessarily taking me off focus. It's just that hanging out with them was taking me off focus. And how many of you, when you got many gifts and talents, many things that you can do, and you spend your time doing everything else but staying focused on what you need to do? That's why so much adversity can come in your life. That's why so many things are so hard, because you've got to stay focused. And when you stay focused, you can achieve great things. Whatever adversity comes your way, when you focus, you can just move right through it. There are instances in the Bible when God would call out men and women to do various things. And the one thing you would see from all of them, regardless of what they were doing, when God called them to do a task, they got focused. How many of you that are here on Action Coaching today can really say, yes, I'm focused on what I'm supposed to do? You know, so many people are trying to do 15 things at one time. Not gonna work. Maybe if you do one thing right, it'll give you the ability to experience 15 other things. So focus is key. You've got to be focused. Any success at any time is going to take focus. Because understand me, when you are striving to achieve things, there's going to be adversity. And focus is just another tool to help you get through the adversity. The wind can be blowing, the storm can be raging, look like things have fell apart in your life. But as long as you are focused on your goal, on your vision, on what you're supposed to do, then you're going to be all right. Don't be like a lot of people who have yet to be successful in life because, let me use this example. One time, my father took us to the carnival. All of us, my brothers and sisters, we were all young then, younger. And of course, I'm the oldest of the family, so I had lead in everything. So we saw this clown juggling balls. And man, we fascinated with the way the clown was juggling the balls. And I figured that, no, I can do that. I know I can do it. I can juggle the balls just like he's juggling them. And I wanted to be the first one to step up. So it opened up there at the carnival that whatever my father had to pay, they would give us some balls that we got to juggle. And I'm looking at it and saying, now this is gonna be easy. I'm just gonna juggle these balls and I'm gonna show everybody I can juggle these balls. Now here was the problem I had juggling the balls, which was later revealed to me after I had made a mess. Now I was gonna juggle the balls, but I was gonna look at everything going on around me. Somebody walked by, I'd take my eyes off, look at them, then try to come back and juggle the ball. I'd miss a ball. Or if something else was happening and I'm juggling the balls, a loud noise, then I won't take my eyes off to see where the loud noise came, and I missed the ball. And finally, I just got so frustrated. And I said, I can't juggle these balls. Of course, I was much younger, and when I got frustrated, I just sit down and I would just act like a baby because I couldn't juggle the ball. And I never will forget that the guy that was juggling the ball, the clown, he's dressed up in a clown suit. I'm not saying he was a clown, but he's dressed up in a clown suit. He told me, he said, look, the way to juggle the balls is you got to stay focused on juggling the ball. And if you stay focused on juggling the ball, you're going to be all right. Now that's a life lesson. Some of our lives are so full of adversity and things happening to us because we're trying to juggle too many balls and look at all of them at the same time, rather than staying focused on the one that would bring us through the adversity we are dealing with. Anytime I'm going through adversity, I stay focused on one thing. God can bring me out. I don't care what's happening around me, I'm focused on that. Don't want you to go anywhere. I'll be right back to talk to you.
Tap somebody and say, I'm made for miracles. You know why God allowed things to happen to you? He want to teach you that there are about 5 people got it. He want to teach you that there are. So whatever the devil knock you back with, God said now's the time to show him that he can't keep me there. Y'all ain't talking. Now is the time to let the devil know greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world.
Welcome back. I left off talking about juggling the balls, how that you got to stay focused, and it is necessary. Focus is a big part of overcoming adversity. How is focus such a part? Because when the storm is coming in life and issues are arising that you have absolutely no control, it just catch you all at once. The only way you're going to get out is stay focused on the fact that I've got to get through this the very best that I can. And as long as I stay focused, I will survive that. Now my last point, which is one of my most exciting points to overcoming adversity. You got to turn down the noise. Now, I know that can be difficult. When I first became a preacher, I didn't have nobody to teach me about these events, so I'm just kind of learning on the fly. Now, one of the things that I was not very good at was turning down the noise. Now, I know everybody got an opinion, and everybody got a right to their opinion. And some opinions that people give are very good advice. But most of the opinions that you hear from people are probably 90% bad advice. So you just have to learn. If you're going to overcome adversity, you got to turn down the noise. Now I know everybody got an opinion till they have to do it. Everybody can tell you how you should spend your money as long as you the one spending your money. But then when it's their money that they got to spend in the same situation, then there's a different conversation that's going on. And I get it, it happens. The higher you climb, the more things you achieve, the more noise you're going to hear. Now I want to say this clearly. Some noise is good noise, but most of it is just noise. Because sometimes people want to tell you how to do something they never experienced. They don't have the least idea of what it's going to take for you to do what you're doing. It's like looking at a basketball game, and because you get and play a little bit, you can say, I'm better than that guy out there. Oh yeah, you get on that court and start facing what he's facing, and you're going to find out you just talking noise. So you got to learn how to turn down the noise if you're going to overcome adversity. Now in this talk on overcoming adversity, I just gave you some important tips so that you can make it through, so that you can overcome adversity. Adversity is part of our growth. It makes us stronger so we can withstand things and be better in life. Nobody is exempt from adversity. All of us are going to go through it. But it's good to know the tips and the little nuggets that'll help you navigate the storm you go through in life. Some are short, some are long, but they are going to come. And we have to learn how to overcome adversity. Like I said, you got to let excuses go. You got to let them go. But there are going to be things you just going to mess up. You don't know. You got to learn. Second of all, you got to stay focused. Don't let what you're believing for get taken away from you because you're in so many difficult things. You got to understand that. You got to turn down the noise sometimes. Sometimes the journey I've been on, I could only hear myself talking. Because if I listened to the noise, it was going to drive me crazy. Because you know what the noise can do? It's all right if one or two people you're trying to satisfy. Noise is not as loud, but it's loud sometimes depending on who you're trying to satisfy. But then when it's 400 or 500 people that you're trying to satisfy, it's going to be a whole lot of noise, and you got to turn down the noise and learn to deal with these principles so that you can overcome the adversity that you're going through. Adversity is not bad. It's good. It strengthens us. It's the only way we get stronger. And that's why whenever any of us are trying to get into any type of physical shape, whether it's long distance running or getting our body strong, they always make us do something that is too heavy for us to do in order to help us overcome that adversity and make it in life. Thank you for being a part of Action Coaching on today. I want to encourage you, sit down and sow a generous seed faith offering for Action Coaching. It is your support that helps us to expand Action Coaching to so many people. So I want you to know there's a link in my bio that'll give you a host of ways to sow seed for Action Coaching. Help us continue to expand and grow. Whatever it is, $50, $100, even more, you're helping us take Action Coaching in so many homes. And I certainly want to encourage you to do that. Remember, there's a link in my bio, and I want you to sow that seed on today. Thank you for your support of Action Coaching, and I know the Lord is going to richly bless you. I want to thank all of the saints before I go. Oh my God, we had a powerful time with our service and all the events of the Action Impact Weekend. It was awesome, but it would not have been awesome without you, and I certainly thank God for you. Well, the Lord bless you. Certainly enjoyed talking to you. And as I do each and every week, I want to encourage you, share the word with a friend and keep the word in action.